Good day, good day, good day. My name is Maria. This is the Science Nerd Edition 1, and I'm going to do a presentation on this longevity paper that I found. It's a casual presentation, i.e., I didn't do a lot of preparation for it, although it's been an article that I've read several times and have been wanting an opportunity just to chit chat and discuss and present. So I'm going to use this opportunity now to present, and I will upload it to the classroom. And then if anyone has, I would love to hear y'all's feedback and commentary. And I would just love to hear y'all's opinion on it. So let me bring up the article. Okay, here we go. Let me get this nice and big. Okay, so this is a paper that came out in Aging 2023, volume 15, number 6. So it was done, it's called Potential Reversal of Biological Age in Women Following an 8-Week Methylation Supportive Diet and Lifestyle Program. It's a case study. This work was done by Kara Fitzgerald from the Institute of Functional Medicine in Washington. Another researcher, 2 people coming out of Virginia of Commonwealth University, Tish and Suzanne, and then American Nutrition Institute out of Hillsdale, Illinois, Romney Hudgens. Okay. Interesting. Normally it's the last person's lab that does this, but I see it's a combination of three different universities. So that's interesting. Okay, all right. So it focuses on DNA methylation, epigenetics, aging, lifestyle, and biological clock. And if you're anything like me, I've just been obsessed with this topic and getting your biological. You can't change your chronological age, but you can change your biological age by essentially by how healthy you are. And that's determined by telomeres, and it's determined by epigenetic switches. And these epigenetic switches can be turned on and off. It's sitting on top of your DNA, and it's either in the off position or the, I'm just watering it down as best as I understand it. It's either in on position or off position, and that triggers if that particular gene is being expressed or not. Okay, and the group, the chemical group that's on these areas are called methyl groups, and so hence methylation. So the DNA is either being methylated or it's not. Ooh, I hope I didn't screw that up. Okay, so all right, let's see, because methylation is not my, epigenetics is not my forte. I am a microbiologist, PhD microbiologist, but epigenetics is something I've always been interested in, but this is, this is a little bit outside my knowledge base, but that's the way you learn is by just trying different things and reading. Okay, all right. So in this study, they looked at 6 women that completed a methylation supportive diet and a lifestyle program. The goal was to impact DNA methylation and to see if it will change biological aging, right? So biological, again, is based on telomeres and methylation versus chronological, which is just how many years you've been on the planet. The intervention consisted of 8 weeks, 2 months. It's got diet, sleep, exercise, relaxation, or meditation, supplemental probiotics, phytonutrients, and nutritional support. So I think that's 8 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 things. 7 things. And I did have slides, but they weren't done. I didn't like them. So I'm just presenting on the fly because I just want to. Okay, DNA methylation and biological aging. They use a Hortha DNA clock. I guess that was developed in 2013, or it was presented in 2013. So I did a little bit of reading in this clock. You really just need a saliva swab. It's not a blood test, it's a saliva. So I think what they're doing is they're picking up cheek cells and then they're doing some kind of PCR on the cheek cell. I don't know. Popping it open, pulling out the DNA, all the good stuff. Okay, normalize using a sesame pipeline. I have no idea what that is. Was conducted on blood samples. Oh, okay. At baseline and at an 8-week period. Baseline, so at the beginning of the study and after 8 weeks. So maybe I was wrong. I've been looking at DNA clock tests, and there are some that are saliva and some that are blood-based. So my apologies, this must be the blood-based one. Okay, so 5 out of the 6 participants exhibited a biological age reduction between 1.22 years and 11 years. So within 2 months or 60 days, at least one person went down 11 years. Okay, it's a small study. It's only 6 people. So I'll tell you more about it in a little while because I read the other paper. There's another paper, supportive paper on this, or the study pre this study. So I'll talk about that briefly as well. Okay, so 5 of the 6 participants exhibited a biological age reduction between 1.22 and 11 years, so that the mean biological age started at 55.83, and then afterwards it was 51.23. It had a p-value of 0.039. So they did 8-week diet and lifestyle intervention with an average of 4.6 years difference. So within 60 days, most people went down in age, biological age, by 4.6 years. That's pretty amazing. The average chronological age at the start was 57. But all of the participants had a younger biological age than their chronological age. So they only enrolled healthy people into this study. So there were inclusion and exclusion criteria, but these are healthy people, are already doing a healthy lifestyle. But if they ramped it up another notch, are they going to do even better? And everyone showed almost a 5-year drop, or a 4.6, so 4.5-year drop in improvement. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, so over here they're talking about, this is the introduction, talking about, diseases and lifestyle modifications and things like this. And then it talks about something called epi-nutrients. Now, I haven't heard of this before. Modifiable lifestyle factors, including concentrated exposure to dietary epi-nutrients, have been suggested to be favorably influence DNA methylation clocks, and therefore have the potential to compress morbidity and extend mortality. Wow. So what are epi-nutrients? This is the first article I'd ever heard of epi-nutrients. They may be defined as dietary nutrients that provide either substrates or cofactors for DNA methylation activity or influence the expression or rate of activity, rate of activity of DNA methylation related enzymes. Okay, so these provide nutrients, right where the methylation would occur, or it supports the enzymes. Okay. All right, so we got folate, betaine are examples, cofactors in methylation, biosynthetic pathways, alpha ketoglutarate, vitamin C, and vitamin A are 10-11 translocation demethylase cofactors and modulators. So I guess 10-11 translocation TET, I guess that's a location. And alpha ketoglutarate, I've seen that in things. Vitamin C and vitamin A affect this particular location. And then demethylase cofactors and modulators. Okay. Okay, then we've got curcumin, which is in turmeric, gallate, which is in green tea, rosmaric acid, which is in rosemary, quercetin, and luteolin. These are polyphenolic modulators of the DNA methyltransferase enzymes. Okay. Because of this diet, I kind of tried it, or I got as close as I could. I got some Italian seasoning. I hate rosemary by itself, so I got an Italian seasoning blend, and I was like putting on every bit of food. And I do drink a lot of green tea, so, well, not a lot, but I do have that as part of my rotation of drinks that I like to have. Okay, modifiable lifestyle intervention was used. Participants in this case series was first investigated in a pilot clinical trial in which participant, all men between the ages of 50 to 72 years, reduced their biological age by 3.23 years as compared to the controls. So this is the other study that I was telling you about. So I read this study, and so it was a bigger cohort, like 30-ish or 30 plus. It could have even been 50. I just don't remember. It was 30 plus. So it was a bigger cohort. So then they were also all healthy individuals. This actual study where it says it's women, it wasn't, from what I can gather, it wasn't necessarily women-centric, because there was one other person in the study, and it happened to be a guy, and he fell out. And then so they ended up with women. This is what I can gather from what I'm reading, okay? And if somebody understands it differently, or you find something different, please, correct me, or, add it to the chats, but this is what I found. Okay, so a case series reported on herein was conducted to further the investigation of modifiable lifestyle intervention that was largely the same in other populations, importantly in women. Okay, so let's jump to the important things. And I'm not going to read every word, that's not the point of this, but there are certain things that, jump out and are important. And I'll get to the actual diet here in a minute. So 5 out of 6 participants that followed the program saw a reduction in biological age. 1% participants saw no change. Of those 6, the maximum reduction was 11 years, while the minimum reduction was 1.22. with a mean biological age difference of 4.6. So if you take the highest and lowest and you divide essentially the average, well, mean. Mean is either the average or the middle number. Okay, I'll let you figure that out. I think it's the, no, it couldn't be the average because 12 divided by 2 is mean. Maybe it's, okay. Anyway, let's see. This is all statistics. Okay. So essentially they had a chart and everyone was sent home with a chart. And then if they accomplished the item that was on there, if they slept the right amount, if they did their meditation, if they ate the right foods, if they took their supplement, they would have to check it off. Right? Over the 8-week course study, data reporting was relatively high with an average of 6.44 days reported per week across all 6 participants. Okay. Adherence for each goal was calculated based on the percent of days reported that a participant checked a goal. Now, this is very interesting. Average individual adherence across all goals varied between 71% and 97%, with an average of 81%. Average adherence according to week had less variance, and the lowest adherence average across the participants observed for 8 weeks was 76%. With the highest occurrence at week 6 at 86. So for the 6 participants, the average adherence was 84.4. Seems to have been easier to adhere to the lifestyle goals at 77. Oh, with the breathing goals being the most challenging at 57%, and intermittent fasting about 93%. So the interesting thing to me is that even at a 76% adherence, they are still seeing results with a drop in biological age. That is pretty amazing. Okay. Okay, let's see. Participants with biological age change. Of those 6, the maximum reduction in biological age was 11 years, while the minimum was 1.22, with the mean being 4.6. Okay, am I jumping around? Okay, yes, I'm jumping around. My apologies. Okay, so going on to the discussion, and there's charts in here, so I'll get to that here in a minute. I'm just rambling. Forgive me for that. Okay. The findings of the case series for 6 women following methylation supportive diet and lifestyle program include changes to DNA methylation patterns leading to an average reversal of epigenetic age by 4.6 years. Okay, the original pilot study of dietary lifestyle change was largely the same, as this resulted in average reversal of biological age by 3.3 years, accounting for any normal variability in epigenetic methylation. The biological age change from the original paper into this paper, like that was a much larger cohort of people, and that was a male subset versus this is a female subset. And even with this female subset, the diet is not female geared. However, it might have better results in females. I don't know. It's not female geared. And the study, from what I understand, wasn't originally female geared. It just kind of turned out that way. Okay. Both studies use this Hortha DNA age clock. to measure biological age at baseline, and then the end of the intervention, the participants were between the ages of 45 and 65. Now, the original study had people from 50 to 72. So you have 45 to 65, 50 to 72, but like, right? Like this. Okay. So I read somewhere that when you hit, I think at 40 and at 60, you have a burst of aging that occurs. Like you age a little faster in that window than you do the rest of the time. So I don't know how that plays into everything. And then it says, you know, as suggested by the analysis, you don't need 100% adherence to get the positive outcomes. Since the improvements in biological age were observed with goal-based adherence between 72 and 92%, an average of 81.7. I think the reason it makes me laugh is because I keep thinking about the 80-20 rule and how they say, you know, you should be on point with your diet 80% of the time. That's why it makes me laugh. The level of adherence notable is notable because they did this between November and January, and they described that period of time with Americans as being very food-centric holidays, which is very true. And it's a very nice way of putting that holiday season or describing that holiday season. Okay, let's look at numbers. Here we go. Here are the 6 participants. Right here are the chronological ages starting at 46 to 65. Okay, the biological age at baseline. So this 46-year-old, this is the one that started off with an older biological age. While she was 46, her body said she was 49, you know. And then everyone else was younger. Like this 62-year-old person was 57. This 56-year-old person was 53. This other 56-year-old had the body equivalence of a 52.79, 65, 61. So they were already starting off lower, except for this lady right here. And then after 8 weeks, everyone went down tremendously, except one person right here, right? So here's the change. The 62-year-old lady whose baseline started at 57, her body ended up showing 46, a biological age of 46. So she went from a chronological age of 62 to a biological age of 46. I love it. I love it. Okay. Then this person went down 4 years in age between these two numbers right here. This person went down 7 years. This person went down 1 year. This one didn't go down any. And then this one went down 3.94. I would have loved to see a row right here that showed adherence, percent adherence. They talk about it, but I would love to see if like this lady that got the 11 years difference, and she had to have been pretty healthy if her body, she was already 5 years under her chronological age. Okay, so she had, all these people had to have been healthy when they started the study, right? They had to have been doing a lot of stuff. But for her to go from 62 to 46, that's amazing. So I wonder, I'm curious, is this a person that had 97% adherence? Was it 97? Yeah. Was it? That makes logical sense, but what if it was a different person? That would have been interesting information. All right. Okay, okay, so let's see, what else are we going to talk about here? Because this part is really interesting here, but I want to wait. Significance of studying healthy people. Studying individuals who are considered generally healthy at baseline, as in this case series, as well as the original pilot study, may have removed potential confounding from disease accelerated biological aging, and instead limited the investigation to the influence of the intervention of the aging itself. So that's very interesting. They picked healthy people because they wanted to remove, they didn't want to see the improvement. Like somebody has diabetes, are they going to get better if they follow this diet? They didn't want to see that. They just wanted to see if you're healthy and you do more, is it going to make a difference? And according to this study, in 60 days, it did make a difference. In 60 days, this lady right here, 60 days went down 11 years. That's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Okay. It has been documented that those with chronic disease, such as type 2 diabetes, have epigenetic methylation patterns that are consistent with being biologically older than their disease-free counterparts. So diabetes ages you. Interesting. And that those with higher biological age who are presently disease-free are a greater risk of developing chronic disease. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you're biological, even if you're disease-free, but your biological age is higher than your chronological age, or closer to it, that's consistent with people that you have a higher probability of having chronic disease. Okay. In addition, it was observed in large data sets that positive lifestyle as well as other effective medical treatments correlate to a reduction in biological age. In those with type 2 diabetes, okay. Okay. So let's talk about the one guy that fell out. Okay. Because this was interesting. This was very interesting. It says there was a 7th male participant in the case study who started the intervention but dropped out before completing due to a reported family emergency. So something serious happened in their life, and this male, the man, had to drop out of this study. Okay, so that's the thing that made me realize that this all-female study wasn't female-centric. And I don't think I mean, it sounds like they didn't necessarily start out with all females, but this is how it played out. Because of this dude. Because of this dude is why I realized that it wasn't female-centric. Okay. So he fell out because of a family emergency. As such, he was not eligible to include the final analysis. So his baseline age was 57.59 and his chronological age was 71. Even though he did not complete the program, he did obtain his DNA age at week 8. And there was an increase where it had increased to 61.58. So he was at 57. So he's a 71-year-old man. His biological age was 57 when he started. So he was very much in shape. But because of this, whatever high stress family emergency, he aged for almost 5 years. Sudden acute acceleration in biological age due to diverse stressful events, which is then reversed following recovery from the event, has been documented. I feel like they talked about this guy. Hold on, let me see if they talked about him anymore. But after this stressful event, he was able to reverse or to improve upon that. He aged 5 years because of this stressful event. That is so eye-opening and so mind-blowing. You know, I have a friend of mine always coming to me or talking to me at stressful times or when I'm in stress. And he's like, you will age yourself. You will get yourself sick if you don't stop stressing. And that is, I've always been like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But this here is some proof. Like you can age 5 years because of a stressful situation. Okay, let's get to the part everyone's interested in. What's the diet? What's the routine? What did they do? Okay, so let's see if there was anything in the conclusions, and then I'll go to the study design. Okay, the findings in this case study add to the existing evidence, suggesting that widely accessible, cost-effective dietary and lifestyle interventions are designed to support DNA methylation and are widely considered to be safe. Maybe you may be able to reduce measures of biological aging and have potential impact on health span, lifespan, and economic burden of aging. Okay, now they're talking about limitations of the study. Is that there was a small study size, other limitations, including include its use of this biological age assessment, that they used a first gen multi-tissue plaque and the lack of control, and they didn't do a control group. One could argue their behavior prior to doing the intervention could be considered a control group. So how did this, if you think of the 8 weeks prior to them doing the study as this control group, but it was probably not in a controlled environment, because I remember reading in the other paper that they excluded people that were, there were some exclusion criteria, like if they had done drugs or, you know, recreational drugs or a couple other things. So one could look at the 8 weeks prior to them taking this, maybe consider that in some capacity a control group. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Okay. Okay, materials and methods. Who was included in the group? All females between 46 and 65. Only individuals that the first study and the only individuals to complete the 8 weeks diet program and obtain comparable numbers at the beginning and the end were included. They use social media to find the people. After the 7th case, the individual referenced above who stopped the program due to change in laboratory methodology were unable to further compare with this DNA data. Therefore, within the constraints of comparable data of this, no cases were omitted. I feel like they talked more about this guy but I guess I could be wrong. Okay, so number one, let's look at the diet that they had. Simple carbs were restricted. The diet was largely plant-based. The key nutrients were protein, 5 to 10 eggs, 6 ounces of animal protein, 3 ounces of liver per week. 3 ounces like a normal, just a single serving size. Participants were also asked to eat the food within a 12-hour window, so they were intermittent fasting. And then they were encouraged to drink 8 glasses of water a day. They were taking probiotics, and a fruit and vegetable powder. So they had green powder twice a day. Oh, okay, twice a day. Lifestyle modifications where participants worked out for 30 minutes at least 5 times a week at a 60 to 80% maximum exertion, a minimum of 7 hours of sleep, and 2 10-minute breathing meditation periods. And they were given a meditation video to watch. So twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Let's see. And they had a nutrition coach that would call them and check on them. Weekly calls for the first 4 weeks, and then every other week until the end. Okay? Or until the end of the study. Okay, so an example of the interventions. So they had here's the vegetables. 2 cups of dark leafy greens, 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables. That's your broccoli, your cauliflower, your bok choy. 3 cups of colorful vegetables, a 4th cup of pumpkin seeds, a 4th cup of sunflower seeds, 2 servings of methylation adaptogens, and I'll tell you what those are in a minute. 1 to 2 beets. That's a lot of beets. And then liver supplement. Oh, this is an example of what would come up on their screen, I think. And then they have probiotics in green powder twice a day, and between 5 to 10 eggs a week. And then the habits is that they had to exercise 30 minutes. They had to do the breathing twice, 2 10-minute breathing sessions, sleep 7 hours, fast for 12, and 8 cups of water. So a little more into detail. Per week, what they had to do is 3 servings of liver. So a total of 9 ounces per week, preferably organic, and then 5 to 10 eggs per week. Oh, omega rich. That's interesting. Guidance per day. So 2 cups of a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cups of vegetables. 7 cups of vegetables a day. Okay. Beets. Okay. 4 tablespoons of pumpkin seed or seed butter and sunflower and seed butter. I started eating sunflower butter. It's almost like peanut butter. It almost tastes like peanut butter. I started that because of this study. And then methylation adaptogens. So let's talk about it. What are those? Those are a half a cup of berries, half a cup of rosemary, or a teaspoon of rosemary, a teaspoon of turmeric, 2 medium cloves. So per day, you should have 2 medium cloves incorporated into your food. 2 cups of green tea or oolong tea. Oh, you only need to choose one of these a day. Okay. Then 6 ounces of protein. So that's interesting. They're saying 6 ounces of protein and 1 to 2 eggs a day. And then liver 3 times a week. So let's talk about it. 2 servings of low glycemic fruit. That's basically your berries. Things should be organic. Should stay hydrated. Should not eat between 7 and 7. And then if you when you include oils, it should be coconut, olive, flaxseed, or pumpkin seed oil. And I don't. When they say pumpkin seed, I don't think flaxseed. I don't think either one of these fall into those bad seed categories, but I don't know. It says avoid sugar, candy, grains, and legumes. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I did not read that the first time. Minimize plastic containers. And then some various supplements, exercise 5 times a day for 30 minutes, water, and breathing. I feel like there's one chart that I didn't talk about. Here we go. Oh, so the mean differences. So with the biological age, 55.83, the endpoint was 51.23. And then 55.49, endpoint 48.1. Excuse me. Okay. But that's pretty amazing that within 60 days there was a drop. And then the one guy that had the heart had to stop, he was able to age reduce. Really, it just shows that 60 days can change your life and it can reduce your age. So I thought this was an amazing study. I would love to hear y'all's comments. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Bye.